All right, guys. It's been a while. Been a little while. Let me know if you can hear me. It's been a little while since we've gone live. Just taking a little break from editing videos. Taking a little break just from editing videos. So we'll see if anybody logs on. If you don't, it's okay either. I understand it's family time. It is 7:25 my time, and it is 12:23:21. So it's the day before Christmas, basically. So I just want to give you a little. Hey, we actually got four people, so that's pretty cool. Let me know if you guys can hear me. All right. I don't know if this mic is working. It's kind of a new mic I'm playing with. Trying to test out the live thing too, so we're gonna do a lot more live stuff if everything's okay. All right, we got B33 from Ohio. What's going on, buddy? We got Willie Woodward, loud and clear. Thanks for confirming everything. Yeah. So we'll just let a couple of guys jump on a little bit more, and then we'll talk about. If you guys have questions, we can just blurt out questions in the meantime before I get started. But we'll go over kind of what we have kind of planned for 2022 and the rest of 2021. What we got planned, what's going on, how the channel's going to shift a little bit, or shift back for that matter, and and it's pretty much anything. So, kind of open to that. There's a random bass jig just hanging out by the table, the editing table. Yeah. Happy holidays, everybody. If you're traveling, uh, good luck with that because I think Colorado, there's a giant mess on the highways. All the semis boycotting some type of court case, something. The north, I think they were just slammed by snow about a week ago. So hopefully that's all cleared out. Oklahoma, Texas, we're doing good, man. We're in Oklahoma, so Oklahoma today. I just came back from hunting. I just came back from the deer stand, and I didn't shoot anything. As soon as I leave, the deer show up. So I don't know what's up with that. So that's something we got to work on. What's up, Joshua? Merry Christmas to you too, man. So give it. It's only been like 3 minutes, so give it to about maybe 5 minutes, 6, 7 minutes, and then we'll kind of start. Because we haven't done a live in a while, so it's kind of getting back in with rhythm of doing these things. But I think you guys are going to see a lot more of this live stuff in the coming year, just because I think it's a better way for us to talk to everybody versus just doing videos and everything. So definitely stay tuned for all that stuff too. The Ooga, the Booga? That's a pretty cool name. I've never heard of that one before. Have you ever caught vipers at Hefner or Overhoiser? We've never, but it shouldn't be hard to do. Hybrids this time of year, they should just focus on points, wind blown points. We actually have a pretty cool video coming out about that because we were able to duplicate this on SkyTip. Basically, the fish are still shallow. This year, especially if you're in Oklahoma, it's not cold enough for them to go deep yet. Like it has the water temps haven't hit 40s. From what I can tell, we were on SkyTip, the water temperature was 52, and it's a fairly deep lake. So the water temp was 52. They were pretty active. They were actually chasing bait on the surface in about 2 foot of water. We were able to catch some, but they're not in the back of the pockets right now. They're all main lake. So focus on main lake points, wind blown, that type of stuff. The dams are doing all right too, from what I've been hearing. I haven't been to fish the dams too much the last week or two, uh, but we have a whole series of videos coming out with dam fishing too. So because about 3 weeks ago we got into a pretty good dam bite. Not all like just hybrids, but a good mixture of everything. So we had hybrids, crappies, walleye in the mix, spoonbill, catfish, all that stuff kind of in the mix. So it's like a 5-parter coming out. Uh, those are already in line. So starting tomorrow, you'll see part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, like every day. So if you guys are bored, chime into that and watch that stuff. If you guys are into the dam fishing stuff, big surf rods, and then at night we throw out the green crappie light, and we transition to minnows. When are you coming to Sooner Lake? Hey, Sooner? From what I've been hearing, the past 3 weeks on Sooner has been hot. I don't know about the discharge. I haven't heard anything from the discharge, but the lakeside it's been pretty hot. Hybrids are shallow, like I said. They're shallow right now. Guides are catching them on top water, so I don't know what to say about that, except for just go get them, guys, because it's very unusual this time of year. December going to New Year's, typically it's dead. Typically they're deep. They're typically suspended 30, 40 feet deep. And you have to go and dead stick something for them to bite. But this year's been kind of weird. Me and Hybrid, we just went out to Skagit just having fun, looking for bass, and then we started catching hybrids and white bass and white perch and all this other stuff in about 10 foot of water. And he caught one on the bank, basically on the bank. Pay attention to prime time. That's when they're gonna be online, and they're aggressive, man. I'm telling you, they were real aggressive when we were there. We had we caught maybe 5 bass, and um, in terms of bites, I think I got probably 20 bites, but I only boated 4 hybrids, but they're not big hybrids. They're like good sized hybrids, like 18, 19-inch hybrids, and 2 white bass and a whole bunch of pecking white perches. Full caught a crappie, and that's about it. Yeah. So, anyways, we're also working on the review of the new boat and the review of the Ultrex trolling motor. So there's a lot of equipment type stuff that's coming out too. So if you guys want to know about that, let me know, and I'll try to address all that stuff as the new year comes out. What is the difference between a striper and hybrids? Okay, so the striper is a if you don't know what you're looking at, they all look the same. Okay, stripers and hybrids. The striper is actually a fish, and then the hybrid is a hybrid of a striper and a white bass. So that's why it's called. We just refer to it as a hybrid. Some people call them wipers, and a whole bunch of other random names too. But we just refer to them as hybrids. Basically, a hybrid is like a supercharged white bass. Put it that way. But a white bass it's really hard to see a white bass over 15 inches. Hybrids are really common in that 18 to 20-inch range. Once you go past 24, they get kind of rare. A striper can go, I don't know, 40 inches. In Oklahoma, 40 is a really big one. A 30 is a really big one. 24 is like 24-inch stripers are common. So that's the main difference. They both fight about the same. Behavior is about the same. Hit the same baits and do everything the same. Run up rivers in the springtime, that type of stuff. Excellent eating fish. They school up like crazy, and in late summer, they blow up bait, and we love doing that. Just still got it. I think his name is Still Got It. Bro, new to your channel. Thanks for giving all advice on how to find stripers, fishing with bands at Texoma at night. Nothing like it, man. Jumping over those rocks with plant stripers. Yeah, the striper stuff is definitely something we're going back to. So if you guys are missing that, because let's be honest, this channel started off with stripers, white bass, topwater, that stuff, dam fishing, and everything. And we kind of transitioned a little bit, not really transitioned, but we started doing a lot more kayaks, a lot more bass tournaments, and I think that kind of that taste of bass is now satisfied, and we're going back to our roots. We're going to do a lot more. Let's just put it a lot more redneck stuff, right? So, a lot more stripers, a lot more crappies, a lot more white bass, top waters, river fishing, dam fishing. Uh, Showing you guys the guys that never came off the bank. We're gonna pretty much do a lot more bank fishing videos too. The guys that are coming from like the boat world. We're gonna do a lot of that because we do have a new boat, and that boat is not being utilized. Okay, so we bought this boat in March, and we have spent more time with the kayak than we ever did with the boat. So the boat needs some loving. So 2022 is gonna be a lot of boat stuff. So definitely look out for that. So let me show you guys. I don't know if I can screen share. Anyways, the last 3 days I released 3 videos on Pumpback. It is W.R. Holloway. It's one of the local lakes close to us where it's actually a fairly clean lake. There's not a lot of fishing pressure, and they drained the lake 23, 35 feet, so it's super low. I actually bank fished there for a little bit, caught a catfish and a good sized smallmouth on one of the videos. There's another one where I'm fishing with my cousin, and I didn't get his catches, but he caught like five pretty good sized fish. And I catch a good sized smallmouth again, and I catch a pretty good largemouth, and a couple of the little fish here and there. Uh, and then me and my brother go out. My electronics, my fish finder's not working very well, and then we kind of had a little contest on uh, you versus me. I feel like we're both pretty good, equal anglers to do this. So he still got his fish finder. I don't. So I don't even have a fish finder. No fish finder, no powerful. We go out. We just start fishing, and I end up catching more than him, just based on gut feeling. Kind of look at the wind direction and kind of just keeping the fish honest. Sometimes a fish finder is great to have, but it can also be your downfall too. So for me that day it was just throwing a rig, throwing a jig, throwing a little swim bait that I always do. Then we had a spoon tied on from the previous trip. If you guys watched the videos, where I was flipping this slab spoon to the bank and I was hopping a little aggressive, and I actually caught a smallmouth doing that. So today, I actually did that day. I did that again. I caught two good smallmouths. I didn't measure the first one. It was probably stretching 18, 19 inches, and the second one was stretching 21 and a half, 21 and a quarter. And if you weighed it, it would have been probably 4 pounder, high 4 pounder, 5 pounder. So great fish, for that lake. And the wintertime is the best time to fish that lake too. I don't know, for some reason, the summertime there's more people out there or something, but that lake it's a electric only lake, so only kayaks and only electric trolling motor boats can really go out there. So it's a beautiful lake. How PY Wisconsin Outdoor Adventures says, how do you typically find the variety of bass through the season? This past fall, I had the largest migration feeding frenzy of white bass and gull feed. It was crazy. Well, migrate it's a little okay. So that's a hard question to just pinpoint exactly because I think it's because I have too much experience with it. So I could come from 5 or 6 different angles on that. So if you're fishing the same lake over and over every year, but one year just seems to be a lot better, it's because the lake is going through like a transition. It's going from like a low to high transition. So if you could follow me on this is how the biologist explained it to me. One of my good friends, Danny Bowen, he kind of explains every lake goes through a cycle, right? So there's always going to be like predator fish, and there's going to be like a food source, which is I don't know, in your state it might be owleyes or smelt or something. But as the smelts or the predator fish or shad, whatever, as there's more of them, there has to be less predators. So every year the predators will double in numbers, and when they double, the food source goes down. So when that happens, and you get your great years of fishing for like whatever you might be doing for bass, white bass, they're all predator fish. So the population goes up, everybody has a good year, and then it gets to a point where these guys have to starve because they're not eating them, so they actually start dying off, or you guys actually catch most of them for that matter, and then it flips. It goes just kind of goes like that, and I've actually seen it from lake to lake. Um, some of the local lakes that we fish, you can see it. Where one year it's awesome, the second year it's not so awesome, the third year it's completely dead, and you kind of write that lake off, right? You're like, it's dead. Don't nobody go there. And then after a little bit, somebody goes back and it's like, man, that's on fire. So you go back to that lake again. So you kind of have to have a couple of lakes where you can kind of cycle through. That's I guess that's my easy answer to that. But or maybe you're just getting better at fishing. That's the other thing too. You can find them better now. And I think that's a good thing, okay, for all of us too, because as we fish more and more, we do gain more experience and make decisions a little faster. Especially for my kayak guys that fish tournaments, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you're on the clock, you got money on the line, you gotta make decisions like real fast. I'm talking 5 6 seconds. You gotta make a decision. You gotta go do something because you don't want to be the guy that that skunks out. It's kind of a peer pressure thing too, you know. Do you have ever heard of the Akuma Rockaway 12 to 25 rod? It is so light you can fish on it. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of Akuma. I have nothing against them. I just don't have any good like reviews on it. I've kind of mixed reviews on Akuma right now. So I don't have a lot of our friends that have Akumas. They have gone to like St. Corey's or they've gone to some custom setup. So everyone just says it's okay. No one ever gives me the it's a really good ride. You need to pick it up, and they keep saying it over and over and over, like month after month after month. And that's kind of how I gauge my product quality too. Like if I want to go buy something, I have a friend that I trust or my group of friends. If someone ventures out and buys a product, and they just give it really rave reviews, something that's say it's even rivals or is as good as stuff I'm using, then when I'm ready to purchase something, I will actually look at that product. But from Akuma, I've never had the feedback that is required, like from them. I'll give you a great example. Like when we were starting to fish, we started off with like whatever you could buy at the flea market, right? Like that $10 rod, and then everybody's talking about ugly stick, ugly stick, ugly stick, and we could afford it, the $50 or $60 for ugly sticks. We bought ugly stick because that was the price point. That was a really good rod, right? And as we progressed through the years, a lot of rods companies have come and gone, and Shimano was one of them, Daiwa was one of them, and now I guess between my group of friends, it's all like the world of bass. It's Dobbins. It's either Dobbins or Shimano. And Falcon, just because Falcon is local, so there's a lot of Falcon here. In terms of rods and reels, we've gone through a lot of brands and we've settled on Daiwas and Shimanos. This is what it is. Okay. Believe it or not, there's a lot of other good brands too, but I haven't heard too much about Akuma, so I can't say too many crazy things about it. So watch out for those big rods that are real light too, because we have a lot of nice rods, real light, but they break a lot. So uh, that's just kind of what it is. Okay. All right. So it's been 20 minutes already. Been answering some questions. There's still 5 guys on board. All right, so this is my list of things I need to go through. List of things that I need to like just fix. Okay. So let's see. So I think if you guys are paying attention to the channel, we just released 3 kayak kind of slash bass videos. The next 4 or 5, it's all back to our roots, right? Like dam fishing, hybrids, kayaks. There's no kayak. Hybrids, Spoonbills, well, accidental spoonbills. Walleye, crappie. Especially this time of year. Right now, the crappie is fire. If you're in Oklahoma, you better get on that. You better get on that crappie bite. It's ridiculous. And we have a video coming. I think it's gonna drop on the 27, 28. Okay, so I'm releasing a video today, and you'll have I think 3 or 4 like damn fishing videos, and then you're gonna get one with me on the John boat with the Stella, the old John boat. I don't know if I don't even know if you guys even know what I mean when I say the Stella. The Stella is the old John boat. That's the name of the boat. That boat hadn't fired up in like 6 months, and one of our brother-in-laws wanted to try this one spot that we haven't been to in a long time. So he goes, "I want to go there." So I was like, "Yeah, let's go." You know, finally fired up the boat. We took it out there, and it was fire. It was fire for man, almost like 4 or 5 hours. Like that's a 25-minute video, I think, and I couldn't include all the footage into it because it would just be way too much. It was just too much catchy. It's one of those videos where as soon as my video starts, I introduce kind of who I am and the two guys that are with me, and then it's just like that, 25 minutes, just like that. So hope you guys enjoy that one. That one's a little iffy for some. That might be too much catching for some people. The kayak salmon trip. No, okay, so okay, let me get that out of my chest. But me and Hybrid, we've been discussing the idea of. I know. In this is gonna be basketball related, right? There is an idea. It's just a little spark right now, so there's nothing. This is not a burning fire or anything like that yet. But there's a small idea that we might come up to the Minnesota tournament. It is a bass tournament for, I guess it's open to the public, but it's a tournament, and yeah, you might come up there. The July 4th fishing tournament. The kayak stuff, let us know. I mean, if you want us to come up, let us know while we're up there. We might drag the kayak too. And we might do something. If we're up there for a whole week, then we gotta do something else, but just tournament fishing. So let us know. Salmon, I've always wanted to use salmon, so I've never had the chance to do it. Even when we lived in Massachusetts, we had a little bit of a window, I think, but we never. I don't even know if we were even able to keep it. That Atlantic salmon that were up there. All right, so coming down the pipeline, right? So this is our channel is an outdoors channel, but so far about 95 to 98% of our videos have been fishing. So we're gonna do in 2022. We're gonna do a couple things. We'll throw some ideas at you guys, and so you guys even a better feeling of what is coming in 2022. So 2022, we're not doing as much kayak tournaments. So kayak tournaments in the last 3 years have pretty much consumed the entire channel. We don't do a lot of striper fishing anymore. We don't do as much crappie fishing anymore. We don't do as much, all the above. Because tournament fishing is once a month. If you're on the state level tour, the Oklahoma Kayak Anglers, that's probably, I would have to say that's the toughest league, you can say. Toughest league in Oklahoma. I don't think there's any question about it at this point. I mean, those guys they're just that good. All right, so that league we fish in. It's once a month, and you travel out of the city. So there's like 8 or 9 stops, and you go to different parts of the state and fish, all different lakes every time. And then there's also the jackpots, which is local to our city, Tulsa, and it's all within like 30 miles of Tulsa. Nothing too crazy. So those are every Tuesday night. So big shout out to Will, who's been running that, and he's decided to retire this year. But big shout out to those guys. Oh, Will. Anyways, sorry about that. Butchered your name. But I'm feeling mind fart right now. But yeah, anyways, the kayak order has really consumed too much of our time. So we're gonna throttle back on that. I think our goal is still to make the state championship because it's just a prestigious award. I feel like I feel like it's a prestigious award to have, the state championship like trophy. So we always want to at least get into that. That would be a goal, is to get in and win. But that doesn't necessarily mean we have to do everything, because this year we doubled qualified. We double qualified for that event. I won the Angler of the Year for the Tuesday night jackpots, the Tulsa Bassathons, and that automatically qualified me for the state championship. Or you can fish the league, the statewide league, and you can qualify. I think it was the top 40 guys qualified for that too. So, no, I feel, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love the flavor of the tournament. It's the adrenaline is something you can't replace. But deep down inside, it's like, I've done this for a couple years already. I need to go back to what I truly enjoy, regardless if I win or not. Because tournament world, it's very, if you're not winning, like if you don't win, there's a sense of disappointment. Where if you're just hanging out with the boys, having a good time, it always feels like you're winning. So we always want, I want to do that. So that's what we're going to go back to. Uh, so the tournaments are going to be a little less for the tournament guys that are wanting a lot more tournaments. We're going to do a lot of more revealing information in terms of tournaments. So we're going to get a strong mix of that too. Because if a tournament comes to town and it's on one of my favorite lakes, I'm still going to go. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to do it. I'll try to record for you guys. But going out of my way to go to a tournament, then I'm not gonna do that for 2022. 2023 we might go back and do all that stuff, but 2022 is a lot of just back to our roots type stuff. Okay, so we're gonna be all right. So video stuff coming. Okay, so let me say this too. I want to spend a lot of time with my dad too. He's getting a little old. He's kind of getting up there in age. He just turned 60. So you're gonna see a lot more of my dad. All right, Dad's gonna be on the video. There's a lot more. You've seen him once or twice on the channel, but we're gonna be with my dad. We're gonna do a lot of the outdoor stuff. So definitely for the hunters, right? Let me know if you're a hunter. I know there's like 7 guys online right now. If you're a hunter, you're gonna get more of that kind of flavor too. Okay, so my dad loves squirrel hunting, so we're definitely doing squirrel hunting. We're doing hog hunting. We're doing deer hunting. Uh, frog, bullfrog hunting, or frog gigging is what they call it here. We're doing jug lines. We're probably gonna do limb lines, and we're gonna do trot lines for sure. So that side of it, we're definitely gonna do. I feel like I just gotta introduce my dad into that type of stuff, because he used to talk about that stuff all the time in Laos and Thailand, but he doesn't do it now anymore, because we came to California and all that stuff's illegal in California. But Oklahoma, it's wide open. So I think I have to reintroduce him to that stuff again. A couple of goals too. Hybrid and I were talking about this. Like, there's a couple of things that we've always wanted to do, and then the kayak tournament scene kind of took us over and kind of went that way. But if the kayak scene was never here, there's a couple of goals we want to do, right? And a couple of goals that if we hit would be very, very special for us. For 2022. So what I'm saying is, I still haven't caught a 40-inch striper in Oklahoma. That's a big striper. Don't get me wrong, but 40-inch striper still haven't caught. I know a lot of people who have, but I haven't done it myself. So that's a personal goal. Catch a 10-pound bass that you actually weighed, and basically on a certified scale is 10 pounds. So this is the closest thing I ever came to a 10-pound bass. And I actually framed it. All right, so this is my 24-inch bass. From Caught. This is what, 4 years ago? So you guys, I don't know if you guys remember that video, but that was caught during the tournament. I won big bass, paid like $600. But that officially is my biggest one. I never weighed it, but I'm guessing it weighed 9.5 pounds. On the low end, the high end, basically tipping the scales at 10 and a quarter possibly. The 50-inch striper in California, yeah, I know a couple of guys got those 50s out there, but those are pretty rare too. Those are just as rare as ours. I know when we went to Massachusetts, back to the Cape Cod Canal, that was the best chance for 50. Like as soon as we left, they were handing out like 45s. 45, 45. Like as soon as we left, like it was handing out 45-inch stripers. Missed it by a day. Yeah, so those are definitely two. The other crazy half is I want to throw a big A rig and just catch like 10 white bass at the same time. Okay, I just want to do that. That's a stupid personal goal of mine. Okay, so you guys might see that too. And if you guys have seen the clear A rigs that my brother's been building, well, he's gonna build me a special one with like 15 baits on it, so I can chuck it in one and catch, 10 white bass at the same time. Um, so Danny Vasquez, do you think there is a benefit to have all those rods from the same manufacturer, or is it better to have different rods from different manufacturers? Oh yeah, that's actually a really good question, Danny. So I've actually answered this a couple of times for just random subscribers who come up to me. So the quick question is, if you don't know what you're doing, like in terms of your skill levels, right? Like say you're not very good at crankbaits, you're not very good at top waters, you're not very good at all the above, and you're just coming into the sport, then it's better to go with one company. It's better to go with one company. One company and just use their line rods, right? Because they're very consistent across the board, right? If they're all fiberglass, they're all fiberglass. If they're all graphite composites, they're all graphite composites. But as you age, you're going to start developing. How do you say, like, as you age as you get better, certain techniques you like them to do a certain thing, or you need them to feel a certain way. So, like, for example, like a topwater rod, right? A typical topwater rod in the world of bass will be like a 610 to a 7.2, medium heavy kind of deal, right? But a lot of people, depending on when that rod was designed, it might have been designed by a guy that was 6.5 foot tall, right? I'm only 5'5", so I need a rod that's gonna be designed for a guy that's 5'5". So when you start questioning rods, that's when you need to start picking rods based on what you like. Okay, so hope that helps you. So if you look at even that wall there, I don't know, that's like maybe 10 different manufacturers. So when you get good, when you get better and better at certain techniques, I'll tell you what, you start following the people that are really good. They design rods too, but they have like a signature series. Okay, so typically companies won't just give somebody the power to design an entire line of rods. They'll give them like, we'll make two rods for you. We'll put your name on it, right? So that guy is always going to do his favorite technique, right? So I'll give you an idea. Let's just say in the world of bass fishing, let's just say Kevin Van Dam is arguably the number one angler of all time. And arguably, he is probably the best crankbait fisherman of all time. Arguably, right? Well, guess what? There's three rods up there that are quantum rods. Quantum, in my opinion, is not a very good rod company. They make like average rods. They're not really good, but they're average. But he's got some quantum tour grade rods, and I pick them up, and man, they good. They real good. But since he's left quantum, they don't make them anymore. So he's gone with Lose, and he's designing stuff for Lose. But I still got the original quantum tours. They still do very good for me. So I throw chatterbaits on them. I throw crankbaits on them. It's still my favorite rod to crank. Lay down. So it's good to brush and stuff like that. So hope that kind of helps you out a little bit on that. Michael Henry, what is the name of the dam you always do a striper fishing? The only dam here that has striper, like a true pure striper, is Keystone. Keystone is the close one we go to. There's one that's a little bit farther. It's called Eufaula. We go to that one, and there's a couple other ones too, but we don't like play with the other ones too much. Anything that's on the Arkansas River has stripers. So just Google Map Arkansas River. It goes through obviously Arkansas, right? And it goes through Oklahoma. So those two states, any locking dam, any fork, any deep pocket, there's stripers there. There's actually a lot of stripers. There's a very good population of stripers. Spawning stripers too. So there's also the Red River. Red River is really good too. Red River by Texoma, very good striper. But then if that's if you want to truly chase the legitimate striper, hybrids are almost everywhere too. Hybrids are in the Arkansas River. There's a bunch of lakes that have them. Skytick is pretty close to us. Uh, that helps a lot of people out. Let's see, what was it? Was it Hefner, Eureka? I just saw a post on Facebook, the Oklahoma hunting fishing. I think it's all called Oklahoma Fishing Report. I think some guide's killing it down there. So if you live close to that area, go have some fun. It's pretty simple. From what I was hearing, they are just either dead sticking or they're doing live bait. Mr. Cha, if you still want a custom A rig, just personal, just personal messages, PM us, DM us, and we'll get them going. The A rig is $35 plus shipping, $5 shipping, and we pretty much ship it anywhere in the United States. But if you guys don't know what that is, well, I don't have one in front of me, but yeah, they're fun. Early prototype, but that's what it is basically. It looks kind of ugly just because it can sit on the rack for a little bit, but that's what it is. It's an A rig. It's clear. It's made of fluorocarbon, and we throw it in the water, it basically disappears. Right. So we were hybrid was we were supposed to learn the A rig last year, and when I look at lures, I've matured in my angling, enough to the point where I look at a lure. If it doesn't look and feel right, then I don't have the confidence to throw it. So when I'm throwing A rigs, I'm always like, man, there's just so much room for improvement. There's so much room for improvement. Improvement number one would be like you need to just make this whole frame like see through. So hybrid figured that out, and then the little clips here, the little clips, you can see that, but the little clips and D rings and stuff. I wanted that to be as small as possible. I didn't want like a big D snap and then have a little swim bait on it because it just didn't look right. So, we looked around, we tried to find, and trust me, we were willing to pay like $50, $60 for something that, we felt comfortable with. And didn't have any. So we had to make it. So, make your shit up if nobody makes it for you. All right, my biggest striper caught at night or day. Sure. I've caught. So me personally, I don't always target big fish. So that's kind of the problem too, right? So for me, you have to separate it from freshwater and saltwater, right? Because you have to do that. In Massachusetts, where we came from, I caught a 42, 43, I don't know, striper, countless, like 38, 39 inches. But when I got to Oklahoma, I didn't really target too much big stripers. I was such a big white bass guy for a long time. And then as soon as I got into stripers, then we went to the whole bass thing. So my biggest striper in Oklahoma, freshwater, whether it's Texoma or Oklahoma, Kansas, Arkansas, it's only a 37 and a half, 38, a bunch of 32s, 33s. But I haven't broken that 40-inch mark, like that 40-inch freshwater striper mark. So that's a goal. We have a lot of things we can do to probably easily break it now that I know what I know, but I just haven't done it. So once that's broken, then we're going to try to do other stuff too. But it's just, it's just one of those things, like little goals, like little baby steps to get to where you want to go. Okay. This is actually another good question from PYWI Outdoor Adventures. What's your opinion on learning a lake by yourself versus hiring a guide and learning from them? Okay. I'm about to hurt a lot of people's feelings on this one because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like this is just gonna have to be like tough love, tough information. Okay, and I hope you don't get offended. Okay, all 10 guys that are watching right now. Hopefully, you guys don't get offended. But it doesn't matter what kind of lake or your approach to the lake, right? It doesn't matter if you're on a boat or if it doesn't matter if you're on land. It doesn't matter if you're flying on a helicopter and drop a bomb on the lake, right? You have to know where the fish are at before you go fishing, and you have to have kind of a game plan for these fish before you go out. So so before we started, so, okay, so this is where tournament fishing really helped us because in the world of tournaments, you're not allowed to get any information, or you can, but it's very expensive, right? So you can hire a guide and you can just talk to him, right? You can talk to him. He might give you a couple spots, but you know he ain't giving you the best spots. And let's be honest, right? You're paying for information, but you know they're not giving you the juice. That's not even arguable. They're not giving you the juice. You know why? Because they're probably going to fish that tournament too. Exactly. So, with that being said, you need to just figure it out yourself. Come up with a system of what you can do to figure it out. Uh, and the more electronics you have, this is where electronics just shines. Like the more units you have on the boat, this is where I feel like the easier you're gonna find fish. The easier you're gonna find fish, the easier you're gonna catch fish, the easier you're gonna make decisions on whether to stay or to go, decisions on where to even start, decisions on where to leave, a spot, and go try another spot, decisions to duplicate a bite. Okay, so in the world of bass fishing, they call it pattern. A pattern. There's got to be a pattern, right? So uh, I'll give you this, right? So the lake we're on, it's called Skytick Lake, right? There's a lot of hybrid guides out there, right? This is before we even got really really good with the open water and striper hybrid fishing. So what I actually ran into this exact problem, right? So a lot of our friends have been saying, hey, if they're not in the spring, meaning they're spawning up a creek or something, it's so hard for us to catch them, right? So there's like you catch them good in the spring, and then they disappear for an entire year, and you catch them good again in the spring. Well, in my opinion, I'm kind of that one guy too that wants answers, right? Kind of like you guys, and I have an engineering background, so fish don't just disappear in my mind. They have moved. They're doing something, right? Whether they turn nocturnal or they swim to the other side of the lake, they've done something, and you need to kind of learn fish behavior. Okay, so that's my answer to you: is learn fish behavior because every species of fish does something that is predictable 80% of the time. 80% of the time, they will do something that's very predictable. Like, for example, in the springtime, 80% of the fish are going to run up a river of some kind. So that's why we can catch them. The hybrids, especially. Hybrid white bass, they all run up a river. All the largemouth bass, they go to the pockets and they have a nest or a bed and they lay their eggs. So it's very predictable. Right? Well, as fish are going in and out, where do they go to? Right? So you have to figure out where they go to. So for stripers, the striper white bass family, they love to suspend in the water column. Okay, so that's what they do. They chase bait. That's what they do 90% of their life. They're open water fish. And that's the difference between bass. Bass is not an open water fish. Smallmouth maybe debatable, but largemouth definitely not. Largemouth, if they go open water and they suspend, that's a rare behavior. Okay, that's rare. Most largemouths will go out in open water and they'll actually hug the bottom. They hug the bottom the whole time. Like the whole life is hugging the bottom or hugging a rock or hugging a tree. That's largemouth. Hybrids, they will. It's really rare for you to find them in the trees. Okay, I've found them before, but it's really rare, right? So what they do is they come spawn, they go back to open water, and they hang out in the water column. So that's why trolling and umbrella rig for hybrids and stripers work so well. Uh, it's actually ridiculous how well it works. But you need to learn the behavior of the fish. And don't get me wrong, it's going to take you about 6 months. Okay, it's going to take you 6 months, and it takes a lot of like YouTube research. It takes a lot of asking questions. It takes a lot of thinking, a lot of trial and error too, because you have to go out there and try it. And don't get me wrong, you might not be able to get it right the first time, but once you do, you get that confidence to kind of build up, right? And then your confidence is kind of like, well, if they're doing that, are they doing this? They should be doing that. They should be doing this. And then you start, trying things and things start clicking, right? Things start clicking. Your predictions start to become predictable, and you start seeing the results, right? So once you do this, you're at the guide's level, okay? You're at the guide's level. Now, the guide might have a lot more experience in terms of years and years and years, right? He can put a guy on a pocket of fish any day of the year, right? But you're going to have to get to that level too if you're going to really want to pursue the world of fishing, because it really sucks to go out there and skunk out. But when you do find them, and if you find them on one area of the lake, and you look at your map, and you're like, you know what? This other section of the lake looks very similar to this section, and we've been killing it for like 2 days, right? But then you've caught everything, or you've caught and released everything, and now they're going to bite. You can duplicate that same bite on the other side of the lake, or upriver, downriver, whatever it might be. And when you make that run to that one spot, you've never been there before, right? This is probably the most rewarding thing I can tell you. You duplicate behaviors is what it is, and it's called pattern fishing. You might run from an east bank that's on the south end of the lake to another east bank on the middle part of the lake with the wind blowing on it, right? So there's some similarities. There's wind blowing on it, and you caught them at like say 10 foot. You run up, and immediately you go to 10 foot. You get there, you cast out, and boom, you get bit, and it's fire again, right? It's very it's very addictive. It's very addictive to do things like that. That's why tournaments exist. The guys that can figure out that pattern the fastest usually ends up winning money that day. For us striper guys, we just have fun. Man. So we actually burn some money, have fun. We but the good thing is we actually get to bring food home. Tournament guys can't. So that's pretty cool at that end too. But learn, in my opinion, guides versus like uh, doing something. Do it yourself, man. Once you get good at it, you can go to different lakes, or you can just look at the topographic maps and automatically you can say, okay, if there's stripers in this lake, they're gonna be right. Like if I go to this lake right now, I would check this spot, this spot, this spot, this spot, and this spot, and that's the whole day already. And odds are you're gonna be successful. You're gonna be successful. So, you an example of that. There's a lake near us that's just littered. It's infested with stripers. It's called Texoma Lake. It's actually on the Texas Oklahoma border. I never fished that lake before. Never fished that lake before. Based off the knowledge that I had on stripers and on hybrids at Skyton, I was able to go to Texoma, no guides. I didn't even fish where the guides were. Okay, put it that way, because there's like 100 guides on that lake every day. I didn't even fish where the guides were, and we smoked them basically. It took me a day to figure it out. Don't get me wrong, it took me a day to figure it out because I'm from out of town, you know. So I go to these areas, and they were there. Like if you have good like sharks, you know that's a school of stripers. They just didn't want to bite for whatever reason. They just didn't want to bite. So you keep moving to different spots, and then you come back. So if you ever looked at our striper fishing video from like 3 years ago from Texoma, that's exactly what happened. I found them, they wouldn't bite. So the next day I found them again, they didn't bite. But the night before we came home, that was the last stop. We came back to it, it was fire. Every single striper we caught out of that school was like 25, 28 inches. They're all real good. And we were able to do that, no guides. So if you're able to get to that level, then in a sense, you're almost better than the guys, okay? Because even if you hire a guide, you're still at the mercy of the guide. So even if the guide wants to stay, but you want him to move, he probably won't move, you know. Or if he's telling you we gotta go, but you're like, this probably is pretty good, it's a head button there. So I say learn yourself. Can I get a shout out for that damn fishing guy? Hey, are you local to us? Are you Oklahoma? I see you a lot on the channel. The damn fishing guy. Shout out to that guy. Alright, so continue with what I need to do. Okay, so in the fall, uh, I have some property. It's not prime property or anything like that, but I have some property. I started hunting with a crossbow this year. Okay, so I'm trying to take some deer. This year, I have seen more deer than I have ever seen in my life, just because I'm actually out there. Okay, so 2 weeks before bow season hits, we set up a deer feeder. It's on private property, so you can do that. So we put corn in it, and I start sitting out, just observing deer. Like I want to learn deer behavior. So this kind of goes back to the guide question, right? So do you rent a guide, or do you try to learn it yourself? So I have some time. Fishing season's kind of stopped, so I was thinking, in order to get good at this, I wonder if I can apply my fishing strategy to deer hunting, right? So kind of experiment, okay, and the experiment's working pretty good for that way. So I have to learn deer behavior, okay? So deer go through basically a spawning phase too, and their spawning phase happens in November. It's called a rut. Kind of a new word for me. So I go through just observing deer. My brother-in-law gives me this crappy like crossbow, and I buy some real nice expensive arrows for it, and then lo and behold, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I've never shot crossbows. I've never shot anything but a rifle. So, but the season's open for 2 months, almost 2.5 months before black powder, before the traditional rifle. So I'm like, let's play with this a little bit. So I do that, and you'll see a whole video on that, right? Of how I kind of break down my season and how I missed 5 deer. I missed 5 deer. It's ridiculous. I see too many deer. The camera that we have on our deer feeder showed crazy bucks. Bucks that do not come out during the day. Okay, they just don't. I don't know what it is, but it's a huge learning experience. Huge tuning experience too. Because in the world of fishing, you have to like know your gear very well to really be very good at it. And the crossbow thing, like I said, I was donated a crossbow, so it's gone through 2 different scopes. The thing was just wobbly as heck, so I had to take it apart, rebuild it basically, Loctite everything. Trigger on it was horrible. So used to like Geisley triggers. This thing is just like is the worst trigger of all time. And then yeah, I still haven't harvested a deer yet. It's bad. It's real bad. Anyways, we're gonna have a video about that. Top 5 things I learned about the crossbow deer hunting. We were talking about the 5 deer I missed. I don't know. Shot a couple. Never recovered them. I never recovered a deer. Pretty bad. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but we're doing a battery build too. So there is a big giant battery that I'm building for the Tacoma. So we're doing that. But we get an idea for a GoPro camera. So if you look at this is what you guys see a lot on our boat. The YOLO stick. I think everybody knows what this is. It's a YOLO stick. Just plug it into your boat, and it gives it power, and your GoPro can pretty much stay on the whole time. Okay, pretty cool, simple solution, but major drawbacks. If you ever lose power on that, sometimes that GoPro will auto erase all the footage. It's not cool. So came up with something else. Built this. Like I said, I'm kind of an engineer, electronics engineer too. So this is a prototype. We're building it. Basically, it is the same thing. It can charge from the bottom, or it can charge with the power adapter. And it charges a battery, which then powers 3 USB ports, and then you can power the GoPro with it. And it doesn't matter if the power cuts in or out. Your battery supplies the power. The power that comes in, it just charges the battery. So you should have no problems with GoPro issues. That should go out the door. So I've been working on that a little bit, and a lot of little things you gotta do. Okay, so 2022, like I said, limited kayak stuff, more redneck stuff. Go celebrate with more YouTubers. So if you're a local YouTuber who wants to collab, shoot us a private message, and we'll work something out. More hunting stuff, and that's pretty much all I got. So the kayaks are pretty much done. I don't think we're buying any new kayaks. We have some pretty nice kayaks already. Probably gonna. I think Hybrid wants to buy the live, the Mega Live. So we'll probably shoot you guys some pretty cool footage of that. And that's pretty much it. All right, it's 55 minutes in. What's up, Randy? So we're gonna, I don't know, questions. If no questions, and I don't know what else I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna hang out for maybe 10 more minutes. This live thing is actually doing a lot better than I thought. It was the first time doing live on the big computer. We usually do the live on the little laptop. It's actually pretty consistent. It's doing pretty good. And let's see what I got. What else do I got? Yeah, so we're gonna do a lot more like just equipment type stuff. A lot more, how to plan for a tournament. Because I feel like I've gone, the past 5 years. I figured a lot of things out that a lot of people are struggling with, and I've kept it a big secret, right? At least in the tournament world, when it comes to money. This is the problem with like YouTube and information. The information is free as long as you can use that information and beat them, right? Uh, so unless if that person is no longer in tournaments, they will never give you the goods. Is how I feel about it. So since I'm not going to be in a lot of tournaments, I'm willing to give up some goods. Everything from the hooks I use, rods I use, lines I use, decisions on like selecting lakes, decisions on whether to make that long run or stay close, decisions to whatever, how open water, why are you throwing such a small little swim bait, that type of stuff. What is your favorite lure for stripers? Stripers? Man, it's hard to beat that top water, man. I mean, Mr. BD. Sorry, guys, I'm butchering your names, but favorite striper lures? Okay, so put it this way: there's a night lure and there's a daytime lure. Right? During the day, it is hard to beat a top water. The top water bite. I mean, I force them to bite top water sometimes. That's why. On my days off, if I go striper fishing, I'll just throw top water all day. And you just work. Sometimes they want to real fast. Sometimes they want to just real slow. Uh, so definitely something on top water, pencil poppers. On our channel, it's always been the Rebel T10. That's probably the best lure for uh, Arkansas River. It's just real shallow, so they hit the shad that are like that size, which is exactly the size of the Rebel T10. Little like 4-inch top water. It's kind of like chrome. It's probably one of my favorite colors. So definitely top water of the day. Okay. And finding them on light line too. That's the other thing that I really do miss. In the world of bass, the bass is only like 3 pounds maybe, and we're fighting them with 20-pound lines sometimes because we want to hook them and crank them and bolt flip them. That's what we want to do because when you're in tournaments, you're playing for money, so you're not really truly there to enjoy fishing. You're there to I guess I guess you're like more robotic. You're there to execute right your game plan, and you're right. It's very rewarding. It's very very rewarding when everything goes your way and you win the tournament, especially major tournaments. It's really really good. But in the world of stripers, we're not fishing tournaments. We're actually there to have fun. So a lot of times, like to me, a striper, if you fight them on 10-pound, 15-pound line, it's a good fight, man. It's a real good fight. Like you get your heart pumping that. That 10-pound line is not gonna hold up with this beast of a fish. When they hit it and you set the hook and he screams like 30 yards. Woo! Heart's pumping, man. I'm telling you, heart's pumping. So that's during the day, right? At night, at night, At night, I like that slow crank. I mean, one of our videos, you'll see it. Videos coming up actually. You'll see it. We right caught a walleye, but do the same thing, but for stripers. Throw like a jerk bait. Start out there just slow line. Like one fast turn, one slow turn, one fast turn, one slow turn. And once in a while, just put a stop in it, like a 1 second stop, and go again. That just keep it random, but that's probably the best retrieve you can do for like a jerk bait, any type of jerk bait. Our favorites probably Yozuri Crystal Minnows, Mag Minnow, uh, Bomber Long A's. The Bomber Jointed, the 15A Jointed, is probably all time favorite. Yeah, all time. It just doesn't cast very good. You can throw a big square bill too. Square looks pretty good too. Okay, so before heading to a lake, do you typically fish the wind-blown side of the lake? Typically, more fish concentrated in those areas related conditions. Do you make these? Do you? How do you make these conditions to move if grounded? Okay, so this is like tournament decisions again. Okay, so in the world, okay, so once you get to that level, right, that everybody has figured out that the wind-blown side is actually better. You have to, in order to avoid the crowds, put it this way, because in tournament fishing, I hate fishing around crowds, right? So whatever's very, like, you know, 80% of the fish is doing this, right? Because I just told you that, like, 80% of the fish should be doing this during this time of year, right? So obviously, wind blown, 80% of the catches are going to be right there. But what happened to the other 20? Okay, so you flip the script, right? Instead of chasing the 80, you chase the 20. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot harder to do, probably 3, 4 times harder to do. But guess what? If you figure it out, there ain't nobody around you. There's nobody around you because they're thinking, look at this idiot. He's fishing he's fishing this channel swing or whatever, and everybody's smoking him on the flats, right? But in reality, what makes a good day of fishing for you? I guess that's the question too, right? So a good day for you is it just 5 fish or is it like 50 fish, right? If you're satisfied with just 5 fish, then you don't have to go to the crowds. You can do something completely different and be happy at the end of the day. So think about it like that. When to move, when not to move. That's a very important question that I think all the tournament anglers ask themselves and ask all the pros, and everybody can't get you a dang good answer, but except this one. I heard this one from one of the professionals who's been doing it for a long time. You might know him. His name is Gerald Swindle. Very popular guy on the Elite Series tour. And his question that he gets a lot is the same question: when do I stay? When do I go? Things like that. And his response is it's a universal response, but it's probably the best response I've heard in 5 years. He said, when when you have given up on a spot or when you run out of ideas on what to do on a certain spot, that's the time to move. Okay, so that concept, right? That little concept, that is probably the most important thing any fisherman can do. If you're on something, it looks so good, right? It looks so good. You get there, you cast 10 times, switch lure, cast 10 times, switch lure, 10 times, make I don't know, like switch angles, whatever. Reposition the boat, put it that way. Still casting nothing. Okay, so you ain't got nothing. Do you stay or do you go? All right, so this is where like that pattern thing comes in. So there are other spots to go fish. So you should leave. The question is, when do you leave? Do you wait an hour do you leave, or do you do 5 casts on a spot? They should have smoked me by now. There's nothing here, and I go. So that's a gut feeling type thing, and you'll develop that too. Every angler is different. Just I'll give you the example of me and my brother. Right, we're both really good anglers. That's what I feel about it. But I fish so much faster than he does. Like to me, I get to a spot that looks really good. I make 3 casts. I make 3 casts that I feel are really good casts. So if you screw up one, then do 4 casts, right? I feel that if the fish are there, they will bite you in the first 3 casts. if you pay it, this is where you have to go back to your mindset, right? And you have to pull up your own memories. And you more than likely will also realize when you get to a spot that's going to be hot, it's usually the first cast. Like if your first good cast on a spot that you're confident in, you're getting bit, right? You're gonna get bit, and you stay. You might cast a couple more times and get nothing, but then maybe the 10th cast in, you get bit again. 15th cast in, you get bit again, right? So that's how you know you should stay. Once you go through a long, like say 20, 30 casts in, and you don't get nothing, I think it's time to go. Because a lot of things have happened, right? One, there's pressure. There's a lot of types of pressures, right? So there's pressure from you catching all your fish's friends. There's pressures from there might be birds in the area that are diving, right? That's pressure too. Your electronics is pressure because if you have our boat, there's 3 of them, right? Ultrasonics going on. I think fish can hear that. I think they know what's up. They lock jaw. If you got like 5 other boats all right on top of these guys, it's done. It's time to go. Okay, so it is time to go. Now, you should come back. Don't get me wrong. If that spot's a good spot, you gotta come back, right? So if when you leave, these other guys start thinking, "Oh man, it's dead." That's why he left. So they start leaving too, right? Give it like 30 minutes. All right. In my opinion, 15 minutes. 15 minutes of calm, no pressure. The fish will restage and they will somehow get hungry again. And you come back to first cast in. You should catch something. If you don't, 3, 4 casts in, they're not ready yet. Take off. Come back later. So that's kind of my approach to fishing. Like I call them community holes. So if you're not the first one there, then don't be the second one there. Okay. Wait until everybody's left and then be the first one there again. Okay. So kind of get that kind of feeling. Okay. So when to go and when to stay is it's all gut feeling. It's all gut feeling, man. That's all I can tell you. But I think everybody agrees that the first guy to a spot usually does the best because he'll catch the easy fish. Right? He'll catch the hungry fish. He'll catch the dumb fish. And he'll catch the fish that's just pissed off. Like those 3 types of fish, he'll catch it. There might be 10 other fish that are there. They're just not doing anything. You're not going to catch those fish, right? So you want to move and then come back, and hopefully one of those fish have now become either dumb, hungry, or pissed off. Okay, that's the only way you can catch fish, in my opinion. And that's what you do with live bait. Live bait's something else. You throw it in there, you wait long enough, that's fine about it. Or you have to change the mood of the fish. Okay, so if you're in a highly pressured area, sometimes this is especially true in schools of fish. Okay, if you get one of them to fire up, the whole school's gonna fire up. Okay, so how to pay attention to that. And there's different ways to fire up a school. So you can do a thing called a hydrowave. Okay, basically I use a DIY one. Look it up on the channel. I'll teach you how to build it. It's like $100 you can build it. And then basically they're now not hungry, they're not doing anything, right? Let's just kind of picture you, right? You're at the house. It's like 11 o'clock. It's not lunchtime yet. You're not super hungry yet. But all of a sudden, right? Ice cream truck rolls up or taco truck rolls up. You're like, what? Taco? Oh, taco. That's what you gotta do, right? That's what you gotta do. So that's hydrowave. Hydrowave can do that. Okay. That or some people just keep throwing the big lure in there until you actually bump one of the fishes and they dart off, and that could start a feud. I've actually done that before a couple times. Yeah, Randy, dumb fish, man. Those are my favorite ones too. The ones that will bite like 3 or 4 times in a day. You let them go, they'll bite again. Those are my favorite fish. All right. So that's kind of a channel update. Like I said, there's gonna be a lot more. There's redneck type stuff. So if you guys see us out there, just come, say hi. I don't know if you want to get too much into the rifles and all that stuff too, because that's not really what this channel is about. But you know, we'll see. We'll see how YouTube treats it too, because YouTube's got a big thing on rifles right now. So any channel that has like blood in it, hunting rifles, military type stuff, they're all just like demonetized right now. We don't want to be demonetized. We still need some money to go hunting and fishing. So I'm not gonna brush up against that one just yet. But definitely a lot more boating stuff. I'm thinking about building an electric kayak with a big electric motor on it. That basically I've always wanted a jet drive kind of boat, but I could never afford it. Well, I couldn't budget enough money to get it. So I'm thinking about taking the little Stella, a 14-foot John boat, and building a really aggressive electric motor to put on the back. That way I can fish pump back and I can climb all these little rivers, without having my little unit ripped off. So it's a concept kind of idea, kind of playing with it. And I don't know, maybe we can put something together for that. We're definitely gonna do a lot more stripers, a lot more fishing, and a lot more kind of on the teaching side, kind of our feel of how things are going, how the industry is going too. Because I'm not part of the industry exactly, but I do observe what's going on, and I know that as soon as we bought our boat, it was super hard to even find a boat after that. Like we bought a for the guys that don't know, we bought a boat in March. As a G3. It's a 19-foot, 20-foot aluminum boat, and you paid like they there was no wiggle room on the price. It was just like that's sticker price. You paying sticker price. You're not getting that boat, and you actually had to pay sticker price for it. Uh, but right now it's so bad. Like a lot of the dealerships are saying 2022 boats are already spoken for. So if you want a boat, you're in line for 2023. So that's how bad the boat world is right now. Kind of like the car world right now. You can't buy a brand new car at retail price. If you could even look at one, it's already marked up like 5,000, 6,000. I know the new Tundra was. I saw a post with somebody saying the new Tundra is like 55,000 starting price. That's ridiculous. A 55,000 starting price, man. I was like, wow, wow, that's crazy. But anyhow, any more questions, guys? Or we're probably gonna sign off now. So you guys want us to talk about jigs? This is the only thing that's in front of you. I'm looking at right now. I think it's a 405 jig. Here's another jig we won from one of the tournaments. So shout out to 405 for getting that out. Maybe I have to trim and put a trailer on it now. I'm thinking about it. But yeah, there's a lot of things like that. I'm about to do a video about my favorite lures in every category too. Kind of just want to help the local kayak guys out because I think I've been here long enough to kind of. It's about time I give back to the community, I guess. So there's definitely be like a series on how to set up a kayak. At least, in my opinion, how to set up a kayak for tournament fishing or for fun fishing. Rigging rods, which rods, reels, hooks, baits, things like that I like. You know. So all right. All right. Any last minute questions? If there's no questions, then about to sign off. All right, guys. Sign off. No questions. Uh, Plan to do this like every week, but I don't know if I will. Advice for river fishing for first timers on a boat or a kayak. Okay, so kayak is gonna be pretty tricky because I try to avoid it with a kayak because that current is quick, especially it's a lot quicker than you think. Uh, and you think you're pretty fit, but you're really not. So kayak, when it comes to kayak, unless you got some backwater where there's not current, go for it. But if you can see current, I'm very iffy on it. Okay, just gonna be honest. I'm very iffy on it. There's been a lot of times where people flipped concurrent and they've lost everything. There's a lot of times where you think you can go upriver, but you can't because you can only paddle maybe 3 miles per hour. And the river's doing 3 miles per hour, so you're paddling your ass off, but you're in the same spot. Okay, so or you're going backwards, which is even worse. Okay, so okay, keep that in mind. If you're on a boat, you'll be alright. But if you're on a boat, make sure you don't hit anything because boats are pretty quick. They can be pretty quick. But river fishing, look for something that blocks current. Usually, fish will hang out behind it, whether that be a tree, a rock. Uh, that's how we catch them here. Our strappers. They're like 5 foot of water. Basically, there's a big rock in the water. You can see all this water kind of boiling over the rock. Right? You just cast right behind the rock. 2 seconds in, you get smashed and you catch them. River fishing is actually really easy. Once you get that figured out, it's really easy. But river fishing is a lot of moving around because I feel like the fish stage in certain areas, and it's either they're all there or they're not there. So you have to move a lot in a river. Whereas a lake, there might be a lot less concentration of fish, but they're more evenly spread out. Rivers are, like I said, if there's a lay down, there's probably like a lot of them right there. There's like a dam of some kind, like 90% of the fish are there. That's what I feel, you know. Yeah, so rivers are real simple. If the river is really dry or real shallow, say it's like a 2 foot, 3 foot river, go find the deepest hole. Okay, go find something that's like 5 foot deep, 10 foot deep. All the fish are gonna be right there. At least all the big fish are gonna be right there. Especially true in the Arkansas River. If you go back 5 years ago, we were catching stripers in the deep holes. A lot of people are waiting. See, this is once again, this is the 20% of the 80%, 100%, right? So in our state, a lot of people when you come to our state, a lot of people will say, go fish the dams when the turbines are generating, or meaning they're letting water out of the dam, right? So all the fish get real active. Everybody's there. The schedule's published. If it says 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, the dam's gonna turn off from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and everybody's there. It's like shoulder to shoulder, fishing. Okay, so we got mad at that. Okay, so this is your crowd question, right? We got mad at that, right? So I was like, man, there's gotta be a better way. There's gotta be a better way. So once again, my mind says these fish, they just didn't disappear. They're still in this river somewhere. So if you look at a river, right, in my neck of the woods, the Arkansas River, that sucker is dry as a bone, right? It can get dry as a bone. If they shut the water off for 3-4 days, that sucker is dry. You can walk across it, right? But if there's fish in this 5 mile stretch of the Arkansas River, you go out there when they turn the water off for 2 or 3 days, and you can literally see the pools, right? So we got to thinking one year, we're like, you know what? Tired of waiting for this stupid dam to turn on, right? Duh, I'm so pissed off. So what do you do? We go out there when the water's not on. The water's off. We actually want the water to turn off. And when you say that to people, they're like, that's freaking crazy. We don't catch fish at the dam. Okay, so we also don't fish the dams. Okay, we fish like a mile after the dam, 2 miles, 3 miles after the dam. So you imagine this big body of water, right? So take your big lake, right? And then the lake is not this big, right? So like they say, 90% of the fish is in 10% of the water. Remember that, 90% of the fish is in 10% of the water. So this is your water. So where's the fish at? You don't know. But all of a sudden, the water's this big. Where's all your fish at? They're right here. They're right there. So, keep it real simple. and you will be a very, very good fisherman. I'm telling you. It works in the basketball too. Like if you keep it real simple, keep your lures real simple. You don't get specialized in the technique, but keep the lures real simple. You're bound to do real good. Okay, so river fishing the same way. Our stripers though, target the big holes, man. Find a way to get to these holes that are out of reach, and really people are not willing to go. Just change your mindset. You know, maybe the crowds are there during the day. You go at night. You know, like if it's warm enough, they fish feed all day. They're opportunistic feeders. They'll eat at night, especially these hybrids and stripers. The stripers are the most aggressive fish at night. I don't know if anyone noticed that. Everyone ever said it, but bass fishing is like maybe, but when it comes to walleyes and striper, the pure stripers, not the hybrid. Hybrid's kind of white bass kind of shut off at night. It's kind of weird, but walleyes and stripers, boy, those guys, they party at night. That's what they do. You know, for walleye, I wouldn't even go fishing for walleyes during the day. Uh, if I'm trying to catch a big striper, I won't even go the day either. I go at night. I feel like at night you have a much better chance at it. So, you know, we're not tournament fishing here where we're restricted to 6 to 3. We can do whatever we want. So, you know, kind of go against the grain. You know, it does make a big difference. Maybe you gotta get a book and just go somewhere else too. That was a pretty good question. We actually have a lot of people. We have like 12 people on there. Yeah. All right, guys. Any more questions? Let's sign off. You got 30 seconds to give me the next question, or we'll see you next week. All right, guys. That's it for tonight. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed all that. Kind of give you an update of what's going on, what's to come. You know, so definitely a lot of good ideas. Just not enough time to really put them in like, video form and submit them to YouTube. So that's about it. All right, guys.